All right. Let me throw the link for in case not everybody transferred over. I think everybody transferred over. Most people did. Drop the link. Your audio has been going in and out on both channels. I checked another stream with the same core and it's not. Are you aware? Okay, let's listen to it. You said the trial audio is going in and out? Let's see.
We usually just do PG, but I will understand what you mean if you say that's what PGT means.
Okay, because I will stumble over the words if I have to do it each time. PG is essentially a way to get better information from less DNA or more complex DNA.
Compared to traditional analysis methods, yes.
Okay, so if there was like a finding of...
I mean, it sounds really good to me. I'll try to skip a little ahead around the stream we just posted. Let's see.
survive over years.
Possibly, again.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It was my understanding that there were almost two different areas where you could be. There's the basically the ground floor, and then there was a basement area as well with additional storage. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So were there any other coolers down in the basement, or just this one?
Sidestep. Oh, I heard.
A car slammed right into
the entrance to the civilian.
Responding to in-progress calls, accidents, thefts, doing proactive work, traffic stops, things of that nature.
And remind us, what year did you become a detective?
In 2020.
In 2020 until now. What are your current duties and what are your role and duties as a detective with the Manchester Police Department?
So I'm currently assigned to the General Investigations Unit.
I mean, if you're talking about that, I believe that's because I was saying it earlier. The guy, he's stepping away from the microphone. If there's another channel that has better audio than Law and Crime, send it to me. I'll use it. But they're using some type of microphone, and the attorney keeps walking away. So this guy that's there, sitting, the witness, he's literally sitting in front of a microphone. The attorney keeps like walking back and forth, walking back around, so the audio might go low and higher. I think that's what's happening with that. No, it's further. Oh god. All right, come on. Where? I mean, it was already almost at the end of the stream. How far? Let's see.
You mentioned collecting MER 3D. Did you also collect a vent cover?
I did.
And what was that logged under?
I believe the vent cover was MER 3A.
At some point during your time, is it fair to say that during your time at the Fitch
This was requested. I actually don't know when this was requested.
Manchester News.
fair to say several years ago?
Yes. Yeah.
And then this is a newer document.
M18.
I mean, I don't know. It sounds really loud and clear to me. But if you have issues, again, just say it in the chat, and then next time I'll test it out and listen on my cell phone and see if it's there. So I'll try it. They're already back. So for the shooting thing, if something's happening, people are saying there's some type of... Oh, you're saying the audio in this channel?
The jury also heard testimony from...
The shooting thing, I'll take a look at. I'm going to have to get up soon, though. But if there's a feed about the shooting, I'll put it on the second channel.
Documents, just FYI.
No, Your Honor. There were... The person who was assisting us in drafting them had missed 2 edits
I've made corrections to those 2 edits, and I've asked them to submit them, and I asked them for that about 10 minutes ago. So it may just not be in yet.
Okay, so the pleading is not going to be identical?
No, it will, Your Honor. I'm sorry. I should say redactions rather than edits. I apologize.
because-
There were 2 areas that had not been redacted out.
Thanks, BL. Just give me a second, guys. I'm doing a whole bunch.
Okay, but it's the identical pleading?
Yes,
Because that's
identical.
the pleading will be open to the public, and the
That's
other one-
correct.
okay,
That's correct.
Okay. All right, Detective Rayhill, when you're ready.
I'm closing out all these windows with clear out all this stuff. Be a little organized. Let me close out all these windows. Bloop, 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 bloop.
All right, Detective Rayhill, if you would just come back up and take the stand, please. And while you're doing that, you can have them.
He's back.
All
Oh
rise for the
God!
jurors, please.
All right, let me know if you have audio problem. I haven't bumped the volume up yet. I gotta bump the volume up. I'm waiting till he starts talking. There was a chase last night, Carly. I was sleeping. Active shooter. Maelstrom Air Base. Oh, Lord. I will wait for updates on that. If there's some kind of feed or something, we'll see if we can cover it on the second channel. The shelter in place. Okay. Let me close out all these extra windows. Make life easier for me.
Please be seated. Whenever you're ready.
Thank you. So, Detective Rayhill, just a few more questions for you. During your involvement in this investigation regarding those records that you received from the Home Depot, did you attempt to obtain surveillance footage from the Home Depot? Surveillance footage of specifically that February 26th transaction?
Yes.
Were you successful in retrieving that, obtaining it?
No.
Can you tell the jurors why not?
It was the date that we needed was too far back from when we asked for that, on the date that we asked.
Detective Rayhill, would you recognize the defendant if you saw him today?
Yes.
Yes, you may.
Detective Rayhill, I'm showing you what's been marked. I'm showing you State's Exhibit 101. Do you recognize the individual depicted in that image?
Yes, that's Adam Montgomery.
During the course of your involvement in this investigation, the homicide of Harvey Montgomery, did you make an arrest?
Yes.
Who did you arrest?
Adam Montgomery.
The same Adam Montgomery I just showed you an image of?
Yes.
And when did you make that arrest?
It was October. I don't know the exact date, but it was back in October of 20. Sorry. It was back in October of 2022 at the Valley Street Jail, which is 405 Willow Street, the Hillsborough County Jail.
If I can have just a moment. No further questions. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
When Kayla was on the stand, she was asked questions about purchasing drugs from Mr. Badero on the day that she claimed Harmony died. And She testified that she couldn't remember if she got the drugs from Vadero. Did she tell you on June 23rd, 2022, that she got drugs? She went up and got drugs from Mr. Vadero. I think she claimed after they had come back from Burger King, but before the car broke down.
I'm not sure. I would have to refer to my report.
Sure. I'm going to show you a copy of the transcript. Actually, show you the official. And do you recall being present at her June 23rd, 2022 interview?
Yes.
Okay. If I showed you a copy of her transcript, would that assist you?
Yes.
It points you to page 224, and this is actually what I'm going to ask you about, but you can read before or after the word count.
Okay.
And she actually told you all of you in that room, that she was the one that went up and purchased the drugs from Mr. Vadero, right?
That's correct. She says that.
And she even was able to give you a reason why she remembered that she was the one that went up.
Yes. Do you want the page marker?
I do.
Done with the volume? I'm sorry. Oops. My bad. I haven't. Yeah, my bad about that. Sorry, guys. I was like zoned in the moment.
The doors only opened a few minutes before we started that, so.
It's okay.
Is he talking extra slow? No. Let me make sure. It is on normal playback.
Do you recall the photograph?
See, the turning, she's like way off yonder.
Fuel grinder?
Now she's on the
Yes.
mic.
And that was a photograph that Kayla initialed for you, is that right?
No, I don't believe so. She initialed the lime bag.
Well, were you present for the December prep session with Kayla Montgomery?
No.
December of this past December?
Correct. I was not present.
Okay. You were present for Kayla's March
16th.
16?
Yes, I was.
2023 interview, is that correct?
That's correct.
That was also called a proffer,
Yes.
right? And during that proffer, you came with some photographs, right?
Yes.
And is States Exhibit 62 one of the photographs you came with?
Yes.
And that was the pictures of several types 4, actually, types of lime, right?
That's correct.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about that in a second. Also, I'm going to show you a copy of State's Exhibit 63. Did you go with a copy of this photograph?
I don't recall. I'm not sure.
Okay. Is it possible?
It's possible, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to show you a copy of what's been marked Defendant's Exhibit I. Did you go in with this photograph?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm going to show you a copy of what's been marked Defendant's Exhibit H. Did you go in with this photograph?
Yes.
And you had been to collect the receipt from Home Depot prior to that March 23rd, 2023 interview, right?
Yes, we received those before that interview.
Okay. And is one of the things in the interview that you wanted to talk to her about was tools?
Yes.
And was Exhibit 63 one of the tools you wanted to talk to her about?
We wanted to talk to her multiple tools. I honestly don't recall that specific tool.
Okay. Well, I will start with the photograph of the lime. You had already gone to collect information from Home Depot, right?
Yes.
And you had collected receipts for something that was purchased that day.
Yes.
And one of the things that set you to looking at purchases that day was mentioned by Kayla in June of 2021.
22.
That lime was in the Union Street apartment used in the shower.
Correct.
And so you were in part looking for purchases of lime.
Correct.
Right? And when you came across this receipt at Home Depot, it talked about a cash purchase of lime, right?
Correct.
And the purchase of the lime was $5.38, right?
That sounds about right, yes.
Okay, and that was for a 40-pound bag?
Yes.
And did you also do research on what lime does?
For the soil,
Uh-huh.
it raises the pH.
And it reduces growth in bacteria?
Yes, I don't know if I can't answer that question.
Okay. So the only information that you have is putting it on lawns to increase the pH.
Correct, yes.
Okay. And the $199 item that was purchased, it only has a bunch of, and this is from, Exhibit 92?
We're talking about Exhibit 92 now, or are you talking about the previous exhibit?
I thought that's what I was referring to previous exhibit. I'll withdraw that objection.
Okay.
Oh. So this is one of the pages, and I'll have it all together, of what's been marked as State's Exhibit 92. And after the limestone, there was an item that is referenced for $199, right?
Okay, hold on a second. Counsel, could you approach for a second? What you just handed him is that more?
$199, right?
Yes, there's a transaction here for $199.
And in your research, you discovered that that was a battery.
Correct.
$200 battery, right?
Yes.
And then the next item was a Milwaukee fuel grinder, right?
Correct.
And how much was that?
$179.
And this purchase of the fuel grinder came with a battery, right?
I don't know.
You didn't check?
I don't know if it came with a battery.
Okay, it came with its own blade.
I don't know that.
Okay. So if the state said on opening, that he bought an extra blade and a battery, that information would not have come from you.
Correct.
Okay. So that is almost $400 for a cordless tool, right? And a battery and a blade.
Correct. And lime.
And the lime was only less than $10.
Yes.
So when you took this photograph of various items of lime to Kayla to identify, you only had lime bags from Home Depot, is that right?
That's correct.
And when you asked her to point to the lime bag to see if she recognized it, she said she circled this.
Overruled.
If we can approach, Your Honor.
Okay. The objection is sustained.
When she circled this item, she didn't circle it as the item. She circled it as most similar to the item, right?
Correct.
She did not identify this, even though it's circled as the type of lime that she recalled, right?
Correct.
And she did not circle it as the same packaging as she recalled, right?
Correct.
It was just the most similar of the four that you gave her from Home Depot.
Correct.
And you didn't go to any other place to check about other lime purchases in the area?
Correct.
Except for the Home Depot purchases, right?
Correct.
And the Home Depot purchases in the 1 month period had about 33 purchases of lime at various Home Depots?
That's right.
Okay. So it is something that is purchased in the wintertime.
Yes.
And, you know, if it reduces smell.
I don't.
Okay. So then I'm going to go on to, did you subpoena Tabitha Scott for grand jury testimony?
Did I don't believe so.
Okay. All right. So you went with photographs to talk to Kayla about potential tool searches, right? Tool that may have been used.
Yes.
Not that you had information that tools were used, you just wanted to talk to her about tools.
That's correct.
And you had information that led you to believe that perhaps a purchase of lime and a tool was made sometime around the time of what Kayla described as a shower at Union Street and manipulation of the body.
Is that a question? I don't. Can you rephrase that?
It was very poorly phrased. Break it down. Your discovery of what you think was connected or could have been connected, the lime to Union Street apartment events that Kayla described. When did you make those discoveries?
Of the lime purchases? Well, we subpoenaed them. We subpoenaed Home Depot a couple months after her last proffer, where she mentioned the lime. Sorry. So we discovered them 2 to 3 months after we spoke to Kayla about the lime.
So about September of
2022.
22.
Correct.
And then you wanted to talk to her about tools, right?
That's correct.
And since you had a tool that seemed to be connected with at least one purchase, this would be one of the tools that you would want to talk to her about.
Yes.
And so you can't remember, but does it seem likely that you took this picture with you?
I can't recall, but yeah, like I said, I can't recall if we took that specific one.
Did you take a picture of this tool, maybe not this one?
Like I said, I can't answer that. I don't know. I remember the miter saw and the skill saw, or the handheld saw, but I don't remember that one specifically.
If she hadn't described any tools as being used in the shower, why would you take a circular saw photograph?
To check to see if any of these saws or tools were used.
And if you had no information about tools being used in the shower, why would you bring a picture of a miter saw?
Just because she might not have been familiar with different saws, so we wanted to give her a couple different photos to show her.
And if you were wondering whether a fuel grinder was used, you probably wanted to bring a picture of a fuel grinder too, right?
Yes, that seems likely, yes.
Okay. So, you had Kayla describe the tool that she had said was in the apartment, right?
In the apartment, yes, correct.
And not in the shower or anything. This was just something that she recalled was in the apartment, right?
Correct.
And you showed her a picture that was neither the miter saw or the circular saw, right?
Yes.
And was that probably the fuel grinder?
No, I believe it was the circular saw.
Okay. I'm going to try a little bit slower then. Do you recall showing her a picture that she said, no, that wasn't it?
No, I don't recall that.
I'm going to show you. If I showed you a copy of the transcript of that interview, do you think that might help refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to show you again a copy of, and this is the transcript of the March 16, 2023 interview, right?
Yes.
And you were present.
Yep.
And I'm going to show you the bottom of 8481. And again, you can read whatever you want for reference, but it's there at the bottom. And let me go.
Can I go to the next page?
I say review anything
Okay.
that you want to orient yourself. There are other pages, I will say, if you're looking for it, where we talk about the circular and miter saw.
Yes. So in these questions, it doesn't appear we describe what we're showing her.
Right, right. So
Right.
we'll have to get there.
Right.
I understand that.
Yes.
Okay. So you're, if I may?
Yep.
Okay. She had described the tool the old tool that was in the apartment under the counter.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And you showed her a photograph and said, I'm going to show you a picture of a tool. Can you just tell me if you've seen it in the apartment or not? And she said no, right?
Yes.
And you don't know if it was a picture of the fuel grinder, but you probably had one there, right?
Probably.
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered.
Overruled.
Right?
Yes, it could have been there. Like I said, I don't recall.
Okay. And you don't know if that was the picture of the circular saw, right?
I believe.
She's referring to.
Correct.
Your Honor. Asked and answered.
Overruled.
But at some point, she actually did identify the circular saw, right?
Yes.
And so it probably wasn't the circular saw that she was talking about there when she said, I never saw that.
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
Could you restate the question, please?
Since she recognized the circular saw, it was not the circular picture of the circular saw that you were showing her when she said she had never seen that tool.
Objection, Your Honor. Same objection. Speculation.
Counsel approach.
So I want to have you, so you do recall that she identified when you showed her the picture of the circular saw, she identified that, right?
Yes.
And that was actually at a different part that you showed her that, right?
Yes.
And she was talking about the tool that was in the apartment when you showed her that, right?
Yes.
And you showed her a picture, and I'm 84, a picture of a circular saw, and she said it was most like that, right?
Yes. I recall that.
And so this picture of the circular saw is the one that she identified, right?
Yes.
So earlier when you showed her a photo and she said, I never saw that, it wasn't this photograph, right?
Correct.
And then after that, you showed her a picture of a miter saw, and I'm showing Exhibit H, right?
Yes.
And you put that on the record that after you showed her that, and she said, no, that's not the one, right?
Correct.
You put on the record that you were showing her the miter saw, right?
Correct.
So we have on the record identification of the circular saw after that first photograph we talked about, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we have on the record identification of a miter saw after that first photograph that you talked about, right?
Yes.
So that first photograph that you talked about, which I've lost again, would have been the fuel grinder, right?
Yes, it must have been if those other two were identified.
Okay. And do you need to see the transcript to know that the other two were specifically identified?
No, I remember those.
Okay. Now, Kayla, oops, I get the page, sorry. I'm sorry, Your Honor, my numbers are different, so it takes a little. Sorry. Kayla testified on direct, or on cross, I think, that she had not mentioned anything about Adam, or had not mentioned the story about Adam wanting to take a tool from her mother's house that she told prosecutors in December of 2023. And she said that she didn't say it because it didn't come up. Okay? You actually, one of you that was in the interview, she was actually asked, and I lost it again. She was actually asked if she remembered Adam buying anything or stealing anything or other types of tools like power tools or anything, right?
Yes, she was.
So she was actually asked about anything involving power tools with Adam, right?
That's correct.
And she did not, in this March of 2023 interview, mention Adam saying that he wanted to take her mother's fuel grinder, right?
Correct.
She did not mention in March of 2023 that Adam wanted to use a power tool on Harmony.
Correct.
Objection, Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes?
Detective Ray Hill, you also talked on direct about the removal of the sheetrock at Fit Shelter.
That's correct.
And you were present for the removal or one of the participants?
I was one of the participants.
Okay. And we also had Detective O'Reilly, I believe. Maybe.
He was present.
Okay. Was the one that was sort of underneath the sheetrock and trying to cut it?
Yes.
And so the sheetrock was cut from underneath.
Correct.
That if you're standing in the room, you're looking at it. And from underneath, it was cut around a very large section of sheetrock, right?
That's correct.
And as it's ready to come down, is that when the paper is laid so that it can be laid on something that will capture anything that falls?
Yeah, so specifically during that cutting of the drywall, we cut the drywall and the studs were the last things that were holding it together. So we made sure that we had a piece of paper ready to go once we cut those studs out and had a team ready to transfer the wall to the paper.
Okay. And so the team is also underneath at various positions under the drywall, right?
Correct.
And as the final studs are cut through,
yes,
people are gently bringing it down, bringing it down, bringing it down, and putting it on the paper.
Correct. It wasn't directly down. It was a little to the side from where we took it off. But yes, that was the motion.
Bringing it down and maybe moving it over
Yes.
and bringing it down and putting it down, right?
Yes.
And then paper, it is sort of wrapped up in paper, right?
That's correct.
So that you've got the paper that is bigger than the sheetrock, right?
Yes.
And as it is put on that paper, the paper is folded over so that it's fully covered by the paper.
Yes, we actually had to use 2 sheets of paper due to the size of the piece that we obtained. 1 sheet was not enough, so we had to actually take 2 pieces to tape them together.
Meaning that you had a strip of paper and decided another strip of paper?
That's correct. And I believe we taped it too beforehand before we actually wrapped it. Like taped it, yes, correct.
Together. So it's all taped up. You come down, you move it, you put it on the ground, and then you step away and somebody moves, probably on both ends, moves that paper to cover it up and moves the other side and covers it up so that it is not exposed to anything that you can help, right?
Correct.
And it was an arduous activity, right?
Yes.
But you all took care to preserve everything that you could.
Yes.
Right? And it may not have worked, but you were certainly trying to keep anything away from the top of that sheetrock, right?
It worked. We made sure that we did everything we could to make sure that nothing got into that sheetrock.
Okay. So it did work.
That's correct.
And people weren't sweating on the sheetrock.
I mean, I can't speak to that. I don't know. Yeah, I guess that could have happened. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And so certainly while the sheetrock is being cut from the ceiling, it's hot in there and y'all are sweating, right?
Yes.
And then as you're bringing it down, it's hot and y'all are sweating, right?
Yes.
And as it being put on the paper, y'all are hot and you're sweating, right?
I can't speak to everyone, but yes, that's a possibility.
Okay. And you don't want your sweat to go onto the sheetrock, right?
Right.
So that as you're putting it down, you're trying to keep your distance as well.
Yes.
And that's why you covered that right away.
Yes.
Okay. If I may have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just a moment, guys.
That's okay. Just make sure you're standing in front of a microphone, please.
So, just 2 questions for you, Detective Rahill. The defense attorney just asked you about the second proffer with Kayla Montgomery, the June 23rd, 2022 proffer, and then that going into the March 16th, 2023 proffer, where you brought those tools. My question for you is related to the defense attorney's question of what information you went armed to that March 16th, 2023 proffer with. So information from that second proffer on June 23rd of 22. During that June 23rd, 2022 proffer with Kayla Montgomery, did she talk about the defendant's statements about dismembering Harmony Montgomery?
Yes.
Okay. And she actually said, he told me he could put her in pieces.
That's correct.
And did she tell you the context of what he said that in? So did she say what he was doing right before he told her that?
I don't recall.
Did she? Well, let me show you what's. Do you think that seeing that proffer, the transcript from that proffer, would refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Yes, you may.
And you can scroll up or down. Just look up in your. Did that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
So, do you recall what she said that statement, what he said that statement in context? Where,
Yes.
What was he doing?
He was putting her in the back.
And she described steam coming out of the bathroom.
Yes.
Did she say he was working in the bathroom
Yes.
on Harmony's body?
Yes.
Let me ask you this, Detective. Typically, well, in your experience as a detective with the Manchester Police Department, how would one go about dismembering a human corpse?
Objection.
Sustained.
No further questions.
Fully what she said was, I know he was going to try and put her in pieces because he said he was going to try, but he said he couldn't, or something like that, right?
Yes.
No mention of power tools, right?
Correct.
An inability to actually do what she claimed he was saying.
Correct.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, you may step down.
Your name is Constable Bedard.
Watch your step on the cords there.
Please be careful of the wires.
So, Ms. Bedard, you can remain standing. Just raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you'll provide this jury will be the truth and the whole truth and the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Thank you, ma'am. You can have a seat. And if you'd like some water, you can.
Thank you.
Make yourself comfortable. Ms. Bedard, can you start by telling this jury your name and spelling your last name for the record?
Yep, my name's Brittany, Britney. My last name's Bedard, Bedard.
And Ms. Bedard, what city and state do you live in?
I currently live in Daytona Beach, Florida.
Daytona Beach?
Yes.
Prior to that, where did you reside?
I lived in Auburn, New Hampshire.
And how long did you live in Auburn, New Hampshire?
I grew up there. I've spent the last 10 years, minus 3 years, in Florida, and yeah.
Ms. Bedard, what do you do for a living?
I currently I'm opening a business. I work for UPS as part-time, but I work from home.
And what's the highest level of education you've
I've graduated college a few times.
Okay. Are you familiar with an individual named Travis Beach?
I am.
And how do you know Mr. Beach?
I dated him for a little while when I came back home 3 years ago.
3 years ago?
Yeah, I came back from Florida. I moved back up here 3 years ago, and then I left a year and a half ago.
So I want to turn your attention to early March of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Back in early March of 2020, were you dating an individual named Travis Beach?
I was.
And back then, during early March of 2020, did you have an occasion to stay at the Econo Lodge here in town?
I did.
And do you remember the specific dates that you stayed at the Econo Lodge?
I don't know. I don't remember the exact dates.
Your Honor, may I approach the
Yes, you may.
So, and I've just showed the defense what's been marked for identification as State's Exhibit 64. And I'm handing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 64 for identification. Can you take a look at that and just let me know when you're done?
Yeah.
So having taken a look at that, do you recall with any specificity the date that you stayed at the Econo Lodge?
Yeah, it says on the March 3rd to the 4th.
And does that refresh your recollection as to when you stayed there?
I remember staying there, but it doesn't. It says it, so I guess I was there.
Okay. You say it says it. Do you recognize any of the names on that list?
Yeah, my name is there. I remember getting the room. I stayed there quite a few times, so I.
Did you in fact get 2 rooms during that period?
I don't remember getting 2 rooms. I remember them having another room, but I don't remember getting both rooms.
I'm going to take this back from you, Ms. Bedard. When you say you remember them having another room, when you say them, who are you referring to?
I remember Adam and Kayla. It was shortly after I met them that they were staying there too. I don't recall that because it was so long ago, the whole situation on why their room was in my name, but yeah.
Do you remember putting their room in your name?
Vaguely.
Okay.
I don't remember the situation surrounding it, but vaguely.
Okay. Ms. Bedard, let me ask you this. You mentioned someone named Adam. Who is that you were referring to?
It was Travis's friend.
Do you know Adam's last name?
Montgomery.
And you mentioned someone named Kayla. Do you know her last name?
Montgomery.
Back in early March of 2020, did you have an occasion to visit them at their home?
I did.
So, Ms. Bedard, I'm handing you, it's been marked for identification as States Exhibit 65, or 55 rather, and 56. Can you take a look at those each in turn and just look up when you're done?
Yes, I remember those.
And you're smiling.
I do, because he was the cutest little boy ever.
Okay, let me ask you this. The images that are depicted on those exhibits, what are they from?
They are from their apartment on Union Street.
Okay, and when you say their apartment?
Adam and Kayla's apartment.
Okay. And is there an individual depicted in the exhibit?
Yes, his name is Declan, I believe.
Declan.
I don't remember. We were there for, me and Travis were there for a short period of time, and I love little kids because it reminds me of my children, so I sat and played with them the whole time. So.
And do you see a phone in that photograph?
I do.
Do you recognize it?
It looks like one of my old phones.
Okay. The child that's depicted, did you take that photograph?
I did.
Okay. And was that a fair and accurate representation of that photo on your phone?
Yes.
And how about the second photo?
It is.
And that's referring to States Exhibit 56 for the record. Also fair and accurate representation?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state moves to strike that deed. States Exhibits 55 and 56 in Marcus Poll.
Any objection?
No objection.
The ID is stricken. They are entered as full exhibits. They may be published to the jury.
So, Ms. Bedard, you said that you recalled taking this photo, and I believe you said it was at their apartment on Union Street?
Yes.
Did that photo actually record the time and date?
I don't know if it recorded the time, but I know it had, okay, it must have, yeah.
So, specifically referring to States Exhibit 55, did the photo that you took record the specific time and date that the
Yes,
photo
it
was
did.
taken? And what was that?
It was Sunday, March 1st at 6:02 p.m.
March 1st?
Yes.
Okay, and referring to States Exhibit 56, did that record the location that you took that photo from?
Yes, it did.
Okay. And what was the location?
It just says Union. It doesn't give the exact address. It just says Union Street.
Is there an intersection?
Yeah, Orange Street and Union Street.
I'm going to take those back from you. Thank you. So you mentioned you recalled being at their apartment briefly. Is that correct? So I want to go back to this stay of yours at the Econo Lodge. You said that you may have recalled putting a room in your name for them?
Vaguely.
So do you recall putting whose name the room in aside? Do you recall the defendant, Adam Montgomery, also being at the Econo Lodge?
Yes.
During your stay? And during that period of time, your stay at the Econo Lodge, did you become aware of a U-Haul?
Yes.
And can you tell the jurors what your familiarity is with the U-Haul?
There was a U-Haul that was rented in someone's name, but and I don't remember exactly why. They needed a card on file. I'm assuming because they asked if I could use my card to pay for it.
And when you say they asked, who?
It was Adam and the person, I don't remember what his name is, that they ended up putting the U-Haul's name in.
Okay, so you remember another individual being there?
Yes.
Okay, but you don't recall that individual's name?
No, I do not.
And it wasn't Travis Beach?
No, it was not.
So during that time when you were staying in the Econo Lodge, it sounds like you recall putting at least one of the rooms in your name, is that right?
Yes. Travis and I had gotten a room.
And during that period, did you lose your ID?
Yes, which happens quite a bit, apparently. That was when I first moved back, and I had just gotten it, and it got stolen from me at the DMV.
So, was that recovered? Your
No, it was not.
Did you put the U-Haul in your name? Do you recall?
No, I did not.
And I think you mentioned this other individual. You don't know their name.
I do not remember what his name was.
We have just a moment. No further questions.
Good afternoon, Ms. Bedard.
Good afternoon.
My name is Jamie Brooks, and I represent Mr. Montgomery. I'm also just going to ask you a couple of questions. On direct, you were asked about the O'Connell Lodge, and you were staying there with Travis.
Yep.
And Adam and Rachel were staying in a separate room.
Yes. They were on the floor below us, I believe.
Before you checked into the O'Connell Lodge, you were at the Comfort Inn.
No, I've never stayed at the Comfort Inn. They have too high of a security deposit.
Okay, but you were at the Comfort Inn in an effort to try to check in there, right?
Yes, and that's when I didn't have the money for the deposit, and so we were leaving to go to another hotel.
While at the Comfort Inn, you saw Kayla in the parking lot?
Kayla and Adam, yes.
And with Kayla, you saw her with a CMC bag, correct?
I seen this stroller, and I remember, I don't know if it was exactly a CMC bag. I remember there being a tannish, whitish bag in between the seat of the two boys.
And Kayla was in possession of the stroller where the two boys were?
Yes.
Commissioner Poach, Your Honor.
Yes.
Ms. Bedard, I'm handing you what has been marked States 52. Does this look at all familiar to you?
It does. I mean, from the top, it looked like it had something in it. So, I mean, the bag was set down in between the stroller, so you could only see, like, the top part of it, but yes.
And again, this was a bag that you saw in Kayla's possession.
Yes.
Not Adam's.
Well, not. It was in the stroller,
In the
and she
stroller?
was pushing the stroller.
In the stroller that Kayla was pushing?
Yes.
You did not see the bag in Adam's possession?
No.
Thank you, Ms. Bedard.
Just one question. You said you saw that stroller in the parking lot?
Yeah, they were out. I want to say they were outside when we walked outside to leave to go to the O'Connell Lodge.
They being
Kayla and Adam.
and the two boys?
Yes.
Together?
Yes.
All right, you may step down. State may call its next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, at this time, the state would call Mr. Dennis Cloutier to the stand, please. this way. If you please come up to the bend there, and watch your step on the electrical, please. And Mr. Cloutier, sir, if you could please remain standing just for a brief moment. I'm going to have you raise your right hand and swear you in. You solemnly swear you solemnly swear before this jury that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you, sir. Please feel free to have a seat.
All right, sir, is that your phone that just...
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to turn it off, please.
Thank you.
Sir,
Yep.
just turn your phone off,
Yep.
and I'll ask you to remove your glasses, please.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cloutier. As we're being recorded here today, would you please state your full name, spell both your first and your last name for the record, okay?
Dennis Timothy Cloutier, DENNISCLOUTIER.
And Mr. Cloutier, what town do you reside in?
Allstead, New Hampshire.
How long have you lived in New Hampshire?
Pretty much my whole life, but I moved away for a few years.
Okay. And what do you do for work?
I'm a maintenance man.
How long have you been doing maintenance?
25 years.
25 years. Let me ask you, are you familiar with an address called 644 Union Street?
Yes.
How are you familiar with that address? Could you tell the jury?
I contract for maintenance from the landlord, so I take care of it.
Okay. And when we talk about contract for maintenance, what kind of work do you do for him?
Paint the apartments when they're empty, fix things when they're broken.
Okay. What about when you say fix things that you've broken? Just thinking about all my contractors that I might have. Do you do plumbing?
Yeah, basic.
Electrical?
Yeah, outlets and such, nothing more than that.
Okay. Are there sort of lights repair, so there's a hole in the wall or something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Locks?
Locks.
Screen and doors?
Screen and doors.
Okay. And what about flooring?
Flooring, yeah.
Okay. And let me ask you, with regards to, I apologize. Also, do you set up an apartment for when a new tenant's going to come in, or do you clean out apartments when old tenants move out?
Both.
You do both?
Yes.
All right. And how long have you been doing that at 644 Union Street?
2007.
Okay.
That's when the landlord purchased it.
And you're still doing it to this day?
Yep. Worked there this morning.
All right. I want to know, are you familiar with anybody by the name of Tara Hilbert at that address?
She doesn't live at that address, but she lives around the corner in another building that same landlord owns.
Okay. And do you ever interact with her with regards to doing these setups, clean-outs, painting, things like that?
Yeah, every now and then we need her to transfer keys or drop off paperwork for a new tenant. If they're going to look at an apartment and no one's around, she'll open it for us, that sort of thing.
Okay. If I could approach the witness.
Yes, you may.
I want to show you what's been marked States Exhibit 136 and 137 for identification purposes only. Let me show you States 136 first. Do you recognize that photo?
I do.
All right. What do you recognize that to be a photo of?
The corner of Orange and Union Street.
Okay. And the building you told me about a moment ago, 644 Union Street, is that shown in that photo?
It is.
Is it labeled in that photo?
It is.
Okay. And what does the label look like, just to tell our jurors?
What, the red little icon?
A red icon, okay. And let me also show you States Exhibit 137, again for identification purposes only. Do you recognize that image?
Same property.
Same property?
Correct.
I believe you said before that Ms. Hilbert was living in an adjacent property?
Correct.
Okay.
She lives in this building.
Okay. And by that you're pointing to a building on
137 Orange Street.
137, okay.
Correct.
And with regards to these two particular photos, other than the fact that obviously they got a little red sticker down here on the bottom right and they were come off of Google, other than that, do they look to be accurate for the building that you service and that you're
Correct.
familiar with?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask the identification be stricken on States 136 and 137, please.
No objection. All right, the ID is stricken. They're entered as full exhibits.
So, Mr. Cludier, I want to ask you specifically about one other individual besides Ms. Hilbert, and that is showing you State's Exhibit 101. Do you recognize this person?
Adam Montgomery.
Have you interacted with Adam Montgomery before?
I have.
And was he? Did you ever service a unit that he was staying in at 644 Union Street?
I did.
Well, when you met him, did you meet him in person or over the phone?
In person in his apartment.
And how many times would you say? More than once?
I think I was in there twice.
Twice. Okay. Let me ask you, did you ever have a maintenance request for that particular property back on February 27th of 2020?
I did.
Okay. And when you have a maintenance request, what sort of paperwork gets generated from when you do service on a unit?
Well, the way it works is everything is pretty much a verbal agreement. And then when the job is performed, we hand the landlord a bill. And there's a record of that.
And so the record of that?
It's all invoices.
And that was going to be my question, the invoices.
Yes.
Could you describe to the jury what those invoices look like?
They're triple carbon. You know, the white, the pink, and the yellow.
So 3 different copies. So
Yes.
You fill it out one time.
That's it. Yep.
And then
Yep.
just makes the copies as we go down.
Correct.
Just for a quick second. I'd like to go ahead and I'd like to go ahead and show you State's Exhibit 70 for identification purposes only. Do you recognize that?
I do.
All right. What kind of document is that?
That's one of my invoices.
Okay. And when you said before you got the white and then the white, pink, green?
Yeah, no, white, pink, and yellow.
White, pink, yellow. So this is the bottom copy.
Correct.
Okay. And for that particular invoice, you just told us a moment ago about doing some work on February 27th. Is that the invoice from that day?
It is.
Okay. And other than the fact that there's a red sticker on it, any changes to that from when you remember turning that copy in?
Not at all.
Your Honor, I'd ask that the identification be stricken from State's Exhibit 70, please.
An objection?
No objection.
All right, the ID is stricken. It's entered as a full exhibit. It may be published to the jury if you wish.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Cludier, I want to ask you just a couple of quick questions about the job that you did on this day. Specifically from going through, and we'll have an opportunity to look at this more later on. What kind of work did you do for that? And I'm going to leave it there in case you have to refer to it, but what kind of work did you do at that point?
Oh, the guy called about his tub not draining. I knocked on his door. I met him in the kitchen, went around to the bathroom, noticed that the overflow plate where the drain lever is was missing a screw turned sideways. And he said the drain did not drain.
Right.
So I removed the rest of it, went down to the truck, got a snake, snaked out the drain, discovered that he had dislodged the actual plunger that hooks to the lever, so that was stuck down in the drain. So I removed that completely, went back to the truck, grabbed a brand new plate that doesn't have a lever hookup, and he just didn't get a lever.
Okay.
You see what I mean? And I just put a blank plate on that so it could at least overflow water. And that was that. So I snaked the drain and replaced the plate.
Sounds like would you say that that was a fairly easy repair that day?
Yeah, I was in and out of there in maybe 35 minutes.
Okay. While you were there, did you see anybody else inside the apartment?
Yes, I think the woman, Kayla.
Okay.
And some children were on the couch.
Okay. And the children, you said that they were on the couch. Let me ask you, the size of the bathroom in that particular apartment, how big are we talking, or how
Really
small?
small.
Are we? Really small.
Really small.
Okay.
Like a galley bathroom.
Okay. I see what you mean. So if I come through the door of the bathroom,
if someone's standing behind the door of the bathroom, it won't open.
Okay.
It's a small bathroom.
Right. The plate that you said was off.
It wasn't completely off. It was missing a screw. It was hanging sideways. It takes two screws. If you remove one, it's going to rotate over sideways.
So when it was rotated over sideways, could you see kind of down back into where that overflow drain was?
Yeah, that's the point. That's where you enter the snake when you snake out a bathtub. You remove the overflow plate.
Okay.
So.
And you're not about to say when, excuse me, let me back up a little bit. Having one screw on an overflow plate, that's not a way that you would typically leave an apartment when you go to get it ready for a new tenant. Am I right in saying that?
No.
All right. With regards to when you're doing this repair, where is Adam Montgomery?
Right outside the bathroom door.
Okay. And are you guys talking at all during that time?
Not really. He's doing more pacing than talking. So.
More pacing than talking.
Yeah, he was just kind of waiting for us to finish.
With regards to that particular apartment, I'm going to grab that invoice back for you, sir. After this time period, were you ever called to go back in to do other sort of maintenance repairs?
I think I had to go back one more time to fix some lights on the ceiling.
Lights on the ceiling?
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
They were just popped off the ceiling. They were hanging by the wires.
Literally
Yeah.
off the ceiling?
Yeah, the wires weren't disconnected. I mean, a light isn't heavy. The lights we use are real light. They'll hang by the wires and still work, but they were hanging by the wires. So
What else do you know? Tell
put
us.
them back up.
Any idea how those lights got pulled down?
Regulation.
Excuse me. I'll withdraw the question and I'll rephrase. With regards to those lights, did Adam Montgomery tell you how they got pulled down?
He said he took them down because he thought there were cameras in them.
Oh, shit, that meth talk.
With regards to other electrical work, did you do any other kind of electrical work on that unit while he was residing there?
I had to replace the thermostat.
You had to replace the thermostat?
Correct.
Okay. Any other electrical repairs that you know?
No, that's it.
And let me ask, when you, later on that particular apartment, when you do cleanouts, could you describe for us what you do in the apartment for a cleanout?
Throw everything in bags and bring it to the dump. Rip the carpets out and bring those to the dump.
Okay. Do you remember doing a clean out of this particular apartment after the Montgomerys left?
I do.
Commissioner approach. Yeah.
No matter. What's up? What's up? What's up?
For the clean out that you said that you would rip different things out, just in general, correct?
Well, whatever's damaged and needs to be replaced.
Okay. What about appliances? Do you ever remove those?
I do.
Okay. And do you have any recollection whether you ever removed any appliances from that unit?
Yeah, we threw the fridge away.
Okay. All right. Mr. Clutie, those are all the questions I have for you. I appreciate your time today. I believe defense counsel may have a couple.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, sir, you may step down.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 2:45. Perfect timing for our mid-afternoon break. I remind you, don't talk about the case with each other or with anybody else. Don't do any independent research. We'll come back in about 15 minutes. All right, all rise for the jurors, please.
All aboard! Wendy, thank you so much for the 10 memberships. That's like 15 maybe today, right? Lilac, thank you for the lilac. It's not lilac, it's lilac. Thank you for the gift. Appreciate that. 828 Caroline, thank you for the 5 memberships. There's something strange was going on in Washington. Oh, was it Washington? 9 patients evaluated after Eastern Market Metro Station evacuated due to smoke.
We'll just need a little bit of extra time.
Smoke filled up in the metro stations. Let's see what else. Hold on.
You know what? Why don't we just go ahead and do that now? We're going to take them out of order. We'll have them right now so we get them done today. I want to make sure he's done on time.
Okay, so we'll bring him up. Put him right there.
Do you like the noise removal, or does it make the lows too much?
We'll bring him in once the jury is seated. Is that what everybody agrees to do?
Either way, Your Honor, that's fine with the state. No preference. Whatever's best for court staff. Okay. We would, because we will be handing him some documents. Thank you.
So I don't want to make the decision for you. Tell me what you want to do. Do you want him on the stand beforehand, or do you want him to be brought in?
I think it's okay for him to be brought in, Your Honor. That's fine.
So let's bring him up. Put him in there. As soon as we get the jury in, we'll bring him in. Okay? All right.
So we'll have to figure out little itty bitty settings. Let's see what we got here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. What are we looking like? So we got, today was so, I mean, you guys are really incredible today. Oh my God, yo. How many memberships today total? Oh, this one's separated, right? Because I started 2 streams. There's 21 membership gifted here. Let me see if I can look at the first stream we did today. And by the way, I'll let you guys know tomorrow, we might start doing split streams daily. Part 1 and part 2 every day. I think behind the scenes, it makes things a little bit easier for me. And on the YouTube side. So depending on, I'll let you guys know tomorrow morning. I might do 2-part dailies. Okay, let me see. Can I look at analytics? I don't know if it tells me yet. Might be too soon. I could look under here too. I think I can look under. Let's see. So many options now. It's kind of hot in here too. Turn on the AC. Get a little hot in here. It's good, and it doesn't show here. We had a whole bunch last stream too. I mean, crazy. I think Amy did 40. That's at least. So Amy did 40, and I know there was other people. That is, damn, like 50. No, 60. 60. I mean, 61. It's probably like 70 something memberships today. Thank you so much. And Creole, thank you so much. Creole lady, thank you for the 5 memberships. We're doing a live stream Sunday, members live only. Angel says you should take an hour break for yourself. I was kind of considering that. We either do a story in between, if there's a story to cover, or I just take a little hour break and I'll schedule the second stream, like stuff like that. A lot of new members, man. So we got a Lilac. You like Lilac? Good vibes, Stacy. Thank you for the 20. Says, did I just hear that Adam Montgomery is next? They said someone from prison. I don't know. I don't see that guy testifying. And by the way, when he testifies, it's going to be from the defense. Once the defense start, if he was going to testify, it would be on their side. So there's no way he's testifying, but it could be one of the skeezers. Somebody commented to me the other day, and it says, so the star witnesses for the prosecution are a bunch of addicts? And I was like, no. Okay, maybe. I don't know. They used to be, but I think they're. When Kayla seems like, well, I don't know, because some people were saying Kayla like she'd be still on methadone or something. Maybe she's getting, I don't know if they're dosing her up to get out of her situation. I really want the headphone version that I wanted to get of the headphones that I'm wearing now. I wanted to get the open ones. I guess these are considered cans, closebacks. The only problem if I would have got the open one, which would sound even louder and everything, and more like, the problem is the sound what actually comes out from the sides, and so it might feed back into the mic. That could be a bad thing. I really want the open ones. Maybe one day, months down the line, maybe I'll just get it just to get it. Yeah, I don't think that guy's going to testify. He's been hiding. Oh, Travis. Oh, Travis. Travis or the U-Haul guy. Travis is, I think, in my opinion, he's a little sketch. I think he knows more than he's saying, too. Travis. He's the guy that I think Adam asked about getting a U-Haul, but I don't think he had a driver's license, I think. So I thought he asked somebody else. Get Maddie's potato skins. Oh, AC. Active shooter Air Force Base. Is that still going on? Let's see. I know that was earlier. I don't know if they're still active, actually. I can't imagine that active shooter would remain active that long in the Air Force. Let's see. Hour ago. Let's see if they did any updates. An Air Force nuclear missile base in central Montana was put on lockdown Thursday following a report of an active shooter. The threat was announced at 10:29 a.m. at Building 219. Air Force and emergency personnel are securing the area. Okay. So weird. They haven't really reported any updates. Let me see. Nothing to see here. Don't worry. The shelter in place is being lifted for all Great Fall public schools except Chief Joseph. Weird. Turn on the fan too. The end of times. Wow. This other guy was testifying that he worked on the family's tub. Okay. Well, look crazy. Crazy. Beth. The DC stuff, I saw one article, but it just saw something about smoke. Raw Alert said it was an explosion, but I haven't seen anything say explosion. I've seen Raw Alerts. Several reports of several loud explosions and smoke pours from the Washington D.C. station. End of times, man.
All right.
Turn on the volume.
All right. Well, damn.
No tenga miedo. Let's see. How does that audio sound? Like, okay, this is on. Wait, let me see. I should do something different.
Right. Well, damn.
Okay, now turn it off.
Well, damn. Oh, fuck.
Montana. 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 I'm gonna tell me how to live my life. I should like it, man. But you want to eat? Want to sleep? Nothing else on Lena. I guess it was a false report. Or did they change locations? Did they update the location? Turn this on. Let's see what else. Active. I didn't know they had a White House cam. Isn't that a security risk? Mount Washington Observatory Tower. Watch live court hearing in Trump's Georgia election case. Oh Lord, no! I don't want to hear no recommend now.
Restaurants there.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh. Why are you taking too long to talk?
Okay.
Did you discuss your affidavit filed in connection with the response with Ms. Willis?
No, sir.
Did you know, personal knowledge, whether Ms. Willis reviewed your affidavit before it was included with the response?
I have no clue.
So, as far as you know, personal knowledge, Ms. Willis did not know what you said in the affidavit.
I didn't give it to her.
That's what I said. You have no personal knowledge.
No personal knowledge.
And as far as you know, no one else has told you that she did or didn't.
I hadn't asked anyone.
We've kind of worked this up a little bit, and the numbers could be off. But according to our numbers, $10,000, give or take, would have been reflected on your credit card statements in connection with things of potential benefit to Ms. Willis, okay? I want you just to assume that. Assuming that there was $10,000 that you had on your credit cards, is it your testimony that Ms. Willis paid you back $10,000 in cash? I'm not acting about...
Can I object? The characterization of $10,000 for Miss.
Oh, what's going on?
But correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the thousands of dollars in cash from Miss Willis, do you know, I'm not asking you whether she took it out of her pocketbook or she took it out of a suitcase. I'm saying, do you know the source of the cash?
Just that, out of her pocketbook. Yes, sir.
You don't know where she obtained the cash?
I didn't ask her.
And the whole time that she was paying you in cash, you never said, hey, why do you have this amount of cash?
Why would, Mr. Sadal, in my practice, people come into my law firm all the time with cash. I never question where they got it.
Yep.
Rolling in the money. I ain't asking no questions. I just take the cash. They just pay me. No, sir. It's none of my business how they got it. Oh, hearing on Fulton County's a Fannie Willis eligibility in Trump prosecution. Who's that? Is that Fannie right here? Fannie.
All right, we are back on the record. Deputy Scott, if you could swear in our next witness.
And I do apologize. And
You don't need to apologize. Don't worry.
You can swear, you can go ahead and swear me. I don't know. Yes, Chelsea. District Attorney Fani, Fani. Last name is Willis.
Miss Willis, how did you know to come into the courtroom like that?
Miss
I was
Willis.
pacing in my office.
Oh, Miss Willis, no. Sonja, hello, good evening or afternoon, welcome. Sore tomorrow, here. I had to take a little branch chain amino acid. I bought a bunch of pounds of Epsom salt yesterday too. Maybe I'll soak today. That's what I need. Soak and chill.
Neumann has jumped into the studio.
You're not sore. That is weakness leaving your body. Semper Fi. Is that how you say it? Semper Fi? No, Semper Fi, right? No, have you eaten any bananas? It does help with that. Does it? No, I don't think it's in the macros. No, it wasn't frozen. That was just me literally not moving probably. The pups, they're here. They're both laying down. Well, Fred's laying with he's sitting with Maddie in the little bed there, and then Ricky's in the hallway. Ricky. Finally got to crate for him though, so at nighttime I'm gonna crate him, I guess that, but they say I guess that helps, they say. We'll see. I don't know if it'll help him. At nighttime it's gonna be in the crate, but for now he's in the hallway. And I opened the bathroom to the guest bathroom, so he has like the hallway in the bathroom. The banana. Need artificial. I took the magnesium thing last night. I slept pretty good. I'm gonna take it again tonight. Maybe a little bit earlier. I did get a call for the chase, and I was just, I feel like I knew if I would have got up, I wouldn't have been able, I might not be able to work out today. So I just called it.
All rise for the jurors.
What about? Yeah, coconut water. Yeah, I think so. Some of it, some amount. Oh, I have a guest bathroom here. There's 2 bathrooms here. It's 2. Well, I don't know. I thought you said in a separate apartment complex. There's 2. It's 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom. So I mean, I guess you can call it a guest. I don't know. When people come over, that's the one they use. It's guest, aka / Maddie's bathroom. No, they're my girlfriend's pups. I guess you could say I'm fostering. Feels like it. Oh, you did text me? Yeah, I was knocked out, man. Joy called me, but
Be seated. State may call its next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, the state calls Mr. Brendan Middleton to the stand, please.
All right.
Middleton?
Again, Your Honor, he will need to handle documents. We've already discussed this.
Happy birthday, Grandma Muddy. 100th birthday? Wow. That's amazing. I'd be celebrating that too.
Good afternoon, Mr. Middleton.
Happy birthday. That's amazing, man. 100 years.
Sir, if you could just remain standing for just a moment.
Absolutely.
All right, what do we got?
Raise your right hand, sir. You solemnly swear that you will tell this jury the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you, sir. Please feel free to have a seat.
Thank you.
The volume, bump it up.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Middleton, as we're being recorded here today on the record, would you please state your first and last name and then spell both your first and last name for us?
Brendan Middleton, first name Brendon, last name Middleton.
And Mr. Middleton, how far did you go in school?
I got my GED.
Okay. And let me ask you, at this time, are you currently residing at the Hillsborough County House of Corrections?
Currently, yes.
Okay. And when's your release date, sir?
I just found out yesterday I'd get out in July.
In July, okay. I'd like to ask you, with regards to, that's where you're living now, but where were you living back in March of 2020?
The Welcome Home in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Manchester, New Hampshire. Is that on Concord Street?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And let me ask you, when you were also one other date. So we've talked about March of 2020. I want to jump forward a little bit in time and talk about July 6th of 2022. Where were you living then?
I believe I was homeless around that time.
Home at that point?
Either Welcome Home or homeless. I've lived there on and off a couple times.
Okay. I'd like to ask about a name, Brittany Bedard. Do you know who she is?
I know the name and kind of remember her face, yes.
Okay. And what about Travis Beach? Do you know that name?
I do.
Okay. And how do you know him?
I met Travis through work when I was doing tree work at Accurate Tree Service. And Brittany was eventually his girlfriend.
When you met him, Brittany was his girlfriend, or I'm sorry, you just said
later in
eventually.
time. I met Travis and he was single at first.
Okay. All right. Back in March specifically March 3rd of 2020, did you agree to rent a U-Haul van for Travis Beach?
Yes.
Okay. Could you go ahead and explain to us why did you rent a van for him that day?
To my knowledge, Travis had contacted me. Him and Brittany were dating. They were looking to move furniture from her father's house. They didn't have a card or the money to do so. I've always been told and raised to help my friends and people I care for, so I agreed to do so. I met them at the South Willow U-Haul, or the gas station next to U-Haul. I went to U-Haul, rented the van for them, drove it over to the gas station, met them, and had left it in their hands.
All right. Let me ask you a couple of quick questions about that. The U-Haul, I believe you just said it's the one down on South Willow Street?
Correct.
Okay. And the gas station where you met them and gave them the U-Haul, where was that in relation to, like, the South Willow Street U-Haul?
I believe it's right next door to it.
Okay.
I could be wrong. Maybe there's a store in between, but to my knowledge and what I remember, it's right next to it.
And how did you end up paying for that U-Haul?
With my debit card.
Okay. When you rented it, did you have to fill out paperwork or check off some boxes?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And did you have to go through that before they would give you the keys to the van? All right. Did you have to sign for it at one point?
Yes.
Obviously, this was back in March of 2020, so I take it you don't have a copy of that paperwork with
you?
you?
No, sir, I do not.
If I could approach, please, Your Honor.
Yes, you may.
Mr. Middleton, I'm going to present you with a copy of what's been marked States Exhibit 94 for identification purposes only. And we'll go ahead and take that out for you. You can go ahead and just generally flip through. I'm going to turn a cover page, kind of look at page 1 of the substantive exhibit. Take a minute to look through that and each of the next pages. Take your time. And then I've got a couple of questions for you when you get done, okay?
Does it really look anemic? Got vampire eyes. Bloody. Probably the best water he's had in the well.
I did.
Generally, that group of information, do you recognize that as a copy of your contract that you signed for this rental?
Yes.
And when you looked through there, did you see anything familiar, like your name or your license number or date of birth, something like that?
Yes.
Okay. And with regards to the other details of the rental, are they all contained inside that document?
Correct.
Right. Other than the fact that this does not have your hand signature on it, with that difference and the fact that the first page here has got a little red sticker, any other sort of changes from when you remember going through that same paperwork and those same fill-in-the-blank sections as when you see it here?
No, as far as I'm As far as to my knowledge, this is everything that I remember. Yeah.
All right. At this point, Your Honor, I'd ask for the identification to be stricken from State's Exhibit 94, please, and it to be a full exhibit and published to the jury.
No objection, Judge.
All right, the ID is stricken, it's entered as a full exhibit, and it may be published to the jury.
Thank you. Mr. Minson, I'm going to let you hold on to this exhibit. No, you're good with it.
Okay.
What I want to do is ask you a couple different questions about some of the information that you filled in on this particular rental that's seen there in the documents and the ones that you signed for. And you can look either at what's in front of you, or if you want to turn around and look at the screen, if that's easier to see, let me know.
Okay.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Middleton, I'm going to go ahead and start with a little bit of this agreement that you signed for to get this particular U-Haul, and I want to go ahead and go to the very first page of the document if I can, and so that to let you know, and the jury is also going to be looking at the same pages that you're looking at, Exhibit 94, and we're going to look at the very first page. So at the very top, could you go ahead into the area where it says customer information and contact search and tell us a little bit, the name that's filled out, is that your name, Brendan Middleton?
Yes, it is.
And did they spell it correctly?
Yes, they did.
Okay. And with regards to the address that was put down, the 60 Londonderry Road in Wyndham.
So that address was the address on my license at the time. I had gotten out of rehab and a couple years before that, and didn't have my driver's license. My friend that lives at that address, very close friend of mine I've known since 6th grade, they had taken me in. Her mother had taken me to go and get my driver's license reinstated, things like that. That is the address I had, or I needed an address to use. That was the address I had at the time.
All right.
So that's what the address they used when I filled this out, because that is what was on my ID.
I understand. That makes sense. Question for you on this is, again, you said that your name was correct. I also want to ask with regards to the phone number on there, that's 603-401-9158. You see that there?
Yep.
Is that your phone number at the time?
One of many old numbers, correct.
Okay. And what about the date of birth, sir? Is that February 14th, 1996?
That is correct.
I wish you a one-day belated birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Going on with continuing into the document, I want to stay here on the very first page again of Exhibit 94, and I want to talk about the address of the rental and where you rented it to. Does it reflect the same place that you just told us a moment ago, the South Willow Street address where you got the rental?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And with regards to the time and the date, is the document accurate in that you got it on March 3rd of 2020 around 3:49 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
Moving on to staying at the lower part of, again, same page, first page of the exhibit, I want to talk to you a little bit about the information where it says dispatch. If you see there, what was the equipment number that was assigned to the van that you got?
BE4352W.
And the specific time and date that it got sent out, what was that under dispatch date and time?
March 3rd, 2020 at 5:49 p.m.
Okay. And then finally, with regards to the pickup odometer, and of course you're familiar with what an odometer is, right?
Correct.
All right. And what did the odometer, what was it recorded as reading when this van went to you?
5,092.
5,092 miles?
Yes, correct.
Okay. What I'd like to do now is kind of stay with that first one, and I want to ask you about the difference between when the time went out and when the time went in. So you can stay with the dispatch section, or if you'd like, you can also look at the screen. I want to talk about the return just underneath. So again, are we talking, what's the return date that this van went back to U-Haul?
March 4th at 1:47 p.m.
Okay. So that's the following day?
Correct.
All right. And what was the odometer reading when the van went back?
5,225.
Okay. And so if I could direct your attention to the screen just for a minute, I want to be able to put both the out time and the back time, the out odometer and the back odometer up there for when this van got dispatched out. And just to confirm with the jury, this is the van that you rented. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So let's see, that's 19 hours, 57 minutes for a rental, and what, approximately 5,225 minus 5,082, around 133 miles or so? Give or take?
Yeah. I would say so.
I'd like to now, if you would, go ahead and flip over to the second page of that exhibit. Again, staying with Exhibit 95. I'd like to talk a little bit about, there was an additional contact that you listed with U-Haul for the rental, and who was that contact?
Travis Beach.
And the phone number that was put there for Travis Beach, is that you gave that to U-Haul, or did Travis give that to U-Haul?
I believe that Travis gave me the okay to give his name and number for it.
Okay.
Again, I mean, this was a few years now, but to my knowledge, yes, I had the okay to do that, and he was willing to do that as well. So.
And I know you said before that, I believe you testified a few minutes ago, you met him at the gas station to get him the van.
Correct.
All right. Did he go into the U-Haul with you to do the rental?
He might have. I don't exactly remember. I just know that my vehicle was over at the gas station, and I did not leave it unattended, so I don't know if one of them came with me or none of them came with me. I can't exactly remember, but I know of me personally, yes, I went into the U-Haul.
Right. And when you say them, one of them came with you, who are you referring to? Who's
I want to
them?
say it might have been Travis, but then again, it could have been Brittany. I don't really remember.
So them is one of those two, Travis or Brittany?
Yes, correct.
All right. Thank you. Skipping now, if you could, I'd like to go to the fourth page, if you would. Oh, you were the authorized driver on that, correct?
Yes.
All right. I'd like to go ahead and, if you could, go to the fourth page for us of the exhibit, and I've also got it up behind you. I would like to ask you a little bit about, again, the customer information. That's your name, again, being listed down there with 60 Londonderry Road of Wyndham. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. And separate from that, also, again, the rental out time, is that reflected on there? That March 3rd, 2020?
Yes, sir.
All right. 5:49 p.m. is when it finally went out?
Correct.
Right. Moving a little bit lower, the equipment, where it's listed below where it says equipment, is that same BE4352W that you read before? That was the equipment number back on page 1?
Yes.
All right. And what is the string of letters underneath that?
AJ78147-AZ.
Okay. And are you familiar with what the license plate was on that U-Haul?
No, I do not remember.
Okay. Well, I'd like to go ahead and bring you through a little bit farther into the document. First of all, was it your signature block that would have been down at the bottom that you would have signed on page 4?
Yes.
All right. I'd like to jump now to the next page of the document, page 5. Again, it's got yourself listed as the customer. Is that right?
Yes.
Right. And then the phone number. Again, I want to make sure that that's accurate. That's the phone number you gave before, 401-9158?
Yes, sir.
Skipping along to page 6, if you would, please. I'm going to flip one more. And I want to talk about the rental date time for when it was returned. Do you see that at the top left-hand part of the screen? I'm sorry, the top left-hand part of the page?
Yes.
Where it says rental date and time and then return date and time?
Yeah.
Okay. And could you read for us what the rental date and time was, please?
March 3rd, 2020 at 5:49 p.m. and the return date was March 4th at 1:47 p.m.
And later on that page, if you look a little bit below there, again, down from there and slightly to the left, I wondered if you could go ahead and read us the equipment section where it says equipment before it goes MI out and MI in. What's the equipment information that was listed in your rental?
BE4352W.
Mm-hmm. And the next string of numbers and letters?
AJ78147AZ.
Approach again, please. So that was AJ78147AZ?
Correct.
Milton, I want to show you what's been marked States Exhibit 100B for identification purposes only. With regards to that exhibit, Do you see that same string of letters and numbers in there, the AJ78147AZ?
Yes, sir.
You see that also on this particular document?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Having seen this document, does that help refresh your recollection of what the license plate number was for that?
Yes, now it does.
And what was it, sir?
AJ78147.
Okay. And the mileage back in where it says MIN, could you read again what that last mileage was, the reading from the odometer?
5,225 miles.
Thank you. Finally, on the next page of the document in front of you, Exhibit 94 still, is that a promissory note?
I'm sorry?
Is that listed as what's called a promissory note at the top?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know what a promissory note is?
Not exactly. You'd have to I believe, from what I read, it's me promising the money that's owed.
Okay. And that's okay. If you don't know, I don't want you to guess. I just want to make sure that...
yeah, no, I do not fully understand that.
All right. That's all right. Thank you. With regards to that, though, on this particular document at the very top of the page, is your phone number listed again? And your name, your address of 60 Londonderry Road that you gave in Wyndham. So basically your name, your email, is all of that listed again?
Yes, sir.
And does it also include your date of birth again?
It does.
And then finally, with regards to that same document, if you would look in the middle, sir, of, again, top of page 87, does it specifically list out what the license plate is of the vehicle that was rented?
Yes.
And what does it list?
AJ78147.
Thank you, Mr. Mills.
You're welcome.
On this particular trip, when you rented this, not trip, but when you rented the van, at that point, I believe you testified on direct that you then got it to Travis Beach at the gas station. Did you ever see that van again?
No, sir.
Are you the person that returned that van?
No, sir.
When you got him the van, did you get your car back? Or was your
Yes.
car right there, I should say?
Yes, I had parked the van. I had gotten back into my car, and I left, and they left in the van.
And who did you see leaving the van, just to be clear for the jurors?
Travis and Brianna.
Brianna, Brittany.
Brittany, I'm sorry.
I just want to make sure we're accurate.
Yeah,
and was that Brittany Bedard who you were talking about
Yes,
before?
correct. Brittany Bedard.
Did you know Adam Montgomery back
I've
then?
never heard of his name at the time.
And what about Caleb Montgomery back then?
No, sir.
Back then, did you have any idea who they were?
Nope.
Did Travis ever talk about the name Adam Montgomery when he asked you to get this rental for him?
No, sir.
Did Brittany Bedard ever talk about an Adam Montgomery or Caleb Montgomery when you were interacting with her and Travis that day to get this rental?
No, sir.
Just a moment, please, Your Honor. Mr. Middleton, I had asked you about where you lived at a couple different times, not only back in 2020, but also on July 2nd of 2022. On that day, do you recall Manchester police officers coming to talk with you?
I do.
And did you agree to talk with them?
I did.
The rental that we just went through, is that what you talked about with them on that day?
Yes, sir.
And at the end of the conversation, did they tell you why they were asking?
Yes, I had asked them.
Well, hold on, I'm not going to go into it. I just want to know whether or not you told them.
Yeah, I did.
They told you why they were asking?
Yes, they did.
Did you know Harmony Montgomery?
No, I did not. I mean, at the time I had heard of what was going on, but I did not know her.
And so at that time, when you rented it, you had no idea what that van was going to be used for, did you?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Middleton. I don't have any further questions for you. I believe defense counsel may have one or two.
Appreciate it.
And good afternoon, Mr. Middleton. I do not have any questions.
Thank you.
You may sit down.
Appreciate it.
We'd ask for the witness to be excused, please, Your Honor.
Any objection? This witness is excused.
Hold aboard.
Appreciate
Put it 30 at
Thank
the
you.
end of the day. End of
May call this
day.
next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. state's going to call Ms. Ms. Rose Smith. Ms. Smith, if you please go ahead and watch the cords as you walk up there, and you just remain standing when you get to the witness stand. All right, thank you, Ms. Smith. Would you please raise your right hand, ma'am? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony that you will give this jury will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Thank you, ma'am. Please feel free to have a seat. Ms. Smith, as we're being recorded here today, would you please state your full name and spell both your first name and your last name for the record?
Roseanne Smith, Roseanne Smith. Most people call me Rose.
Ms. Smith, let me ask you with regards to, are you currently a New Hampshire resident?
I am.
And how long have you been living in New Hampshire?
Since about 1980.
1980. And how far did you go in school?
High school and then some college.
And with regards to work history, what are some of the different jobs you've had in your time?
I was a child care provider. I am currently a yoga teacher.
Yoga, man.
And I drive for a non-emergency medical transportation company.
I'm going to move this just a little bit closer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
If there is some water there, if you'd like, feel free to pour yourself a fresh glass, if you would care to. Ms. Smith, you said you drive sometimes for was it a medical care transportation?
It's a non-emergency medical care transportation service, and that is fueled by Medicaid.
And what's the name of that service?
That's Pelican Transportation.
Do you still drive for them?
I do.
And how long have you been doing that?
For 5 years.
5 years, okay. For providing those sort of transportation services, could you just explain to the jury briefly what your day-to-day interaction kind of looks like with a different patient who needs transportation for medical services?
Yes, I provide service to recovering addicts going to methadone clinics, to kidney dialysis patients going for kidney dialysis. I bring people to Easter seals. So I provide a service to people who cannot drive themselves.
Okay. Let me ask you, are you familiar with a person, and did you ever drive a person by the name of Kayla Montgomery?
I have.
And have you ever driven a person by the name of Adam Montgomery?
Yes, I did.
Where did you give them rides to? I'm sorry, what kind of rides did you give them? What services did you drive them to?
I drove them primarily to the methadone clinics on Market Street.
On Market Street?
That's correct.
When you first started driving them for trips to the methadone clinics on Market Street, where were you picking them up generally in the city?
Yes, December 14th, 2019, I began picking them up from Dubuque Street from their parents' house.
And later on, did you ever pick them up from the vicinity of 644 Union Street?
Yes, I picked them up from Union Street as well.
With regards to the two of them, would you drive both of them at the same time, one at a time, the entire family with children? How would you drive them?
I would drive the entire family, and they would go in and dose, and I would sing Baby Shark with Declan and Seamus.
And those were the two children that they had with them?
That's correct.
Okay. And did they have a child with them named Harmony?
No, they did not.
I'd like to ask you specifically about one particular incident in 2020 with regards to a ride that you gave Kayla Montgomery. And what I'd like to ask you about this is with regards to a conversation you may or may not have had then with Adam Montgomery, okay? Mm-hmm. All right. You have to say yes or no. I'm sorry. It's how we record here.
Yes.
All right. Do you know the incident that I'm talking about?
I do believe I am.
Okay.
It
So-
was 2021, right around March and spring. Well, hindsight is 2020. It was around 2021 that the incident happened.
Well, then that's what I'd like to ask about. March of 2021. Thank you for correcting me. So in March of 2021, would you say, would you or would you not agree that this incident was not like this driving was not like other driving that you've done for them?
Absolutely. It was something I will never forget.
Okay.
And ma'am, I'm going to need you to raise your voice. It's a big room, and everybody here needs to be able to hear you.
Okay.
Thank you.
It was not like other rides.
Okay. I'd like to ask you, when you first saw, did you see Kayla Montgomery on that day for this particular ride?
Yes, I did.
And without going into what Ms. Montgomery said, when you saw her face, how did she appear to you?
Her left eye was badly bruised and starting to swell shut.
Did you drive her that day down to the methadone clinic?
I drove both of them that day.
And with regards to, pardon me, excuse me, with regards to that drive, had you driven Miss Montgomery the day before?
Yes, I had.
Did she have that black eye the day before?
No, she had not.
So on that day when you drove her down to the methadone clinic with the black eye, who else was in the car with you and Miss Montgomery?
Adam.
Adam. And by that you mean Adam Montgomery?
That's correct. Yes.
Smith, I'm going to show you what's been marked State's Exhibit 101. Do you recognize who this person is?
Yes, that is Adam Montgomery.
And this is the other person that you drove in that car?
That's correct.
Were Declan and Seamus with them on this drive?
I do not believe so. I think Kayla said she left them with a neighbor.
Hold on just a
Oh,
second.
okay.
I don't want to ask what Kayla said quite yet. So
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Okay, the children were not in the car with them that day.
Okay. So they were not with him that day. When you saw Kayla with the black eye and you were driving down to the methadone clinic and back, how was she moving in a car? Could you describe physically what you saw in terms of her movements?
She didn't move very much, and she didn't say very much because Adam was in the car.
Okay. At some point in time, did you pull out your cell phone? And can you
She had asked to use.
Hold on just a minute, Ms. Smith. I'm sorry. I can't ask you what she said to you.
No.
So I just want to talk a little bit about what happened in the car.
Okay.
Physical movements, okay?
Yes.
And I apologize. That's on me. I should ask more clarifying question, or a more specific question. With regards to the drive to the methadone clinic,
Yes.
did anything occur in the car on the drive down to the methadone clinic?
No.
Okay. And then for the drive from the methadone clinic on Market Street back to Union Street.
Yes.
Let me ask you, the event that I want to ask you about, did that occur when you were back at Union Street?
Yes.
Okay. When this event occurred, where was Kayla?
In the front seat beside me.
Okay. And where was Adam at this point?
Walking away from the car.
And with regards to there with Kayla, what, if anything, did you try to give Kayla?
I tried to give her my phone.
What did you believe she was going to do with the phone?
She said, well, I can't do, she said.
No.
She wanted to call for help.
Okay. And with regards to that, how was she physically at the time? I know you've described the black eye already. How was she physically when you went to try to give her the phone?
She was shaky.
Where was Adam when you tried to give her the phone?
He was walking back towards the car, but
And so at that point you said he was walking back towards the car?
I didn't see Adam there. I saw rage. I saw pure rage walking towards me.
What did Adam do as he, were you in the driver's seat?
Yes.
And where was Kayla?
Beside me in the passenger seat.
And what did the defendant do?
He reached into the window of the car and twisted my phone out of my hand and said, "You're not giving my wife that phone."
What did you say to him when he did that to you?
I looked at him and I said, "Adam, I love you. please give me the phone back. I'm trying to help you guys.
What did he do then?
He then gave me the phone back, and I was able to give it to Kayla.
Did he say anything else?
No.
So that you begged him for the phone back,
I begged him for the phone back. I did report that
Let me ask about that. You said you reported that.
to my boss, not the police. I reported that to my boss, and I told her that I didn't think I should be picking them up anymore, that I had been very frightened by what had happened. And thereafter, I carried pepper spray.
Thereafter, you started carrying pepper spray because of this?
Yes.
Can you just have a moment, please, Your Honor?
Did they help in the case for the defense?
Thank you, Your Honor, and I apologize, Ms. Smith. Sometimes we need a minute to confer. One thing I just want to clarify with you, and to make sure that I understand accurately.
Junior Gotti, if you would use the microphone and keep
Sorry,
your
Your
voice
Honor, I
up,
thought it was close
Thank
enough.
Thank you.
One question that I would like to go ahead and ask you, and just trying to clarify, is I know that you testified a moment ago that this occurred, in your memory, that this was back in March of 2021.
Yes.
And I want to ask you whether or not you are sure with regards to that particular date.
I am.
Okay. Do you feel that at all that, or excuse me, have you ever provided statements to others that had occurred in the spring of 2020 other than 2021?
I had to meditate on that. And I concurred with my boss. We have records.
You have records.
My boss at Pelican Transportation has records.
Okay, so let me just try to clarify. So when you say I had to meditate on that,
I asked my boss.
you asked your boss. Okay, all right. Meditation out loud. So you asked your boss about the date and when you asked to not have to drive them anymore. Am I understanding that correctly?
Correct.
Okay. And after doing that, you looked at some records?
Yes, my boss has all the records of when we picked them up and when we dropped them off.
And after speaking with your boss, now your memory is that this was in 2021 rather than 2020?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Smith. I don't have any further questions. I believe defense counsel may have a few.
Okay.
And hi, Ms. Smith.
Hi.
Are you able to hear me okay?
I can hear you fine, yes.
I'm sorry about what happened. I can tell that it shook you.
Mm-hmm.
But this was March of 2021.
Yes.
No doubt in your mind about it.
That's correct.
When Adam took the phone, you told him that you loved him.
I did tell him that.
And he gave you the phone back.
He softened, and he gave me the phone back.
Thank you so much, Rose.
Okay.
He's a sweetheart, ain't he?
Very briefly, Ms. Smith, you said that he softened.
He did. The anger in his face went away, but the rage that he had in his face, and then that knee-jerk reaction that he had to it by snatching my phone out of my hand, it was very frightening.
I understand.
It was assault.
Oh, let's go,
Thank
baby.
you. All right.
Turn him into a sweetie pie.
Nothing here, Judge.
You may step down.
Thank you.
Oh, you get no lawsuit, huh?
All right, ladies and gentlemen. that is going to conclude the testimony for today. It's about 10 of 4. You've been very, very attentive. We all very much appreciate that. I'll remind you, don't speak about the case to anybody, not each other or anybody else. Don't do any independent research. Don't drive by any locations. Don't look up any names or any people on social media. Please avoid all media having anything to do with this case. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 8:45 for a 9 a.m. start. Thank you so much for your time and attention, ladies and gentlemen. All rise for the jurors, please.
All right, so tomorrow's day 8. Man, it's been a little, like a little. Oh man.
All right, anything? Yes. Yes? Okay.
Come on, man. I think I'm gonna take a nap after this. A little nap. Maybe I'll take my little branch chain. Take a little nap. Not if I could help it, Mel. I'm calling you. Yeah, get some rest. Oh man. Long day. Oh, tomorrow's Friday. Let's turn it back on. I need a second. I want to talk to you guys. Nicole Rico. Thank you for the 5. I asked earlier, but I had work. When does this trial conclude? Thank you for the 5. They said 3.5 weeks. So I'm thinking at the end of the month. Hopefully it starts raining in by the end of the month. Hopefully by the end of the month. I'm gonna take a little nap. I probably put my phone on silent. No. So we'll be back tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe to the second channel, please, or you're gonna miss out. Because especially today, I don't have any notifications on the main channel till tomorrow morning. So make sure you subscribe, or just type in Icketmel, ICKEDMELCC on YouTube and sub. We're at 14.4K. Need to get to 15. Yeah, I got to. Software. Mustard Mama, thank you for the 10. Tomorrow is a rest day too. Oh, thank God. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be sore tomorrow. I can feel it. I don't know if I'm feeling it the day of. I know the next day I'm feeling it. Usually I don't feel it until the next day. You're losing watchers, so. Tomorrow's rest day.
Can all be under seal, please? Under seal for you, right?
What happened? That's the back. That's it. Oh, I don't even say nothing, huh? Got it. Yeah, we're done. Got it. Give a shit. Okay, so tomorrow's day 8. Part 1. Be there or be squared. Instead of tomorrow's stream, I think I'm going to benefit from a little nap. I'm old. You know. See you 9 a.m. All right. Tomorrow morning, it's time. Monday's a holiday. Oh, that means it's no court Monday? I wonder. The court should be closed
the first
Monday,
3
right?
months of 2021 when I could still enjoy my home.
Oh, let's
Mr.
go.
Wade never came to South Fulton, and it is certainly a lie that he lived with me.
Oh! Go off, girl.
So in 2020, so you said 2019, 2020. Did Mr. Wade ever visit you at a place that you
He
resided?
has never been to my home in South Fulton. 2020 was before I knew that a phone call was going to be made and I was going to have to abandon my home. As a result thereof, he never visited, lived at, came to, or has seen South Fulton.
You qualified that with your home in South Fulton.
That's where I lived in 2020.
Shit, she clapped.
Did he ever visit you at a place that you resided?
Ooh, don't make me pull out my hair.
In 2020,
So
I lived in South Fulton.
Okay.
That's the only place I lived in South Fulton. That's before I had to abandon my home, Judge.
All right.
And at my home in
I think we're
South
gonna clarify
Fulton,
this. We'll break
Miss,
it
he never came there. Okay?
Go off on the judge.
So if you don't come someplace, you can't live there.
Ms. Willis, I'm going to have to caution you. This is going to be the first time I have to caution you. We have to listen to the questions as asked. And if this happens again and again, I'm going to have no choice but to strike your testimony. So, we need to break this down. Ms. Merchant's question, I believe, was asking whether you lived anywhere other than South Fulton.
I did not live anywhere but South Fulton, Georgia in 2020. That is before I began my prosecution of this case, and it was my plan to only live there.
Did Mr. Wade ever visit you at the condo that you leased from Miss Yurdi?
He visited that condo, yes.
He did?
Yes.
Did he ever spend the night at that condo?
No.
Just visited?
Yeah, but he did visit for sure.
Did you ever go out to eat together, other than the lunches you talked about,
In
during
2020?
2019 or 2020?
I would think that we probably went to lunch, but it wouldn't have been, let me think, 2019. I'm going to say, I don't know, I'm going to say we probably broke bread someplace in 2019. I don't remember it, but it seems like we would have broke bread sometime in 2019. So I'm going to say yes, although I have no recollection. But it seems to me like I go out to eat and drink with pretty much everyone, so I'm going to say yes.
So outside of the vacations that we've already talked about, did you ever go out to dinner with Mr. Wade?
I mentioned to you that
I'm going to object as to what time period. Like we're asking very vague questions. I thought we were treating the witness as hostile under 611.
Ooh, hostile witness, yes!
We need to be more specific with our questions if we're going to treat her as hostile.
Yes!
All right, Ms. Merchant, it's not so much. I think you can elect between leading and open-ended questions, but I think we are still wondering about, and I think we need to get back on track of focusing on the financial benefit or the relationship.
And my next question about if you did go out to dinner, who paid when you went out to dinner?
He paid, I paid.
You both paid.
Okay, so let me be real clear. We didn't say, oh, the bill is $102. You give $51, I'll give $51. I don't operate like that with my girlfriends. I don't operate like that with anyone. He caught the bill, I caught the bill. Whomever.
Did you ever pay him through Cash App?
No.
You only ever paid him through cash?
Well, yes. We're talking about, I'm very confused
You've
now.
never
like,
given Mr. Wade money through Cash App?
No.
The only money you've ever given him outside of a contract is cash.
I didn't give him money in a contract, so that was cute. But I didn't give him money in a contract. What happened? No, we're gonna answer it since you said it. He worked more hours than he was paid, and the county paid him for the work that he did. So don't be cute with me and then think that you're not going to get an answer.
And I will ask you about the contract in a minute. I asked you about cash.
Oh, she pissed.
Did you
She
ever
get pissed
pay
too.
him anything? And I'm trying to
What is this?
qualify
What do
my
we get
questions.
into?
I'm not talking about the contract with Fulton County that was paid. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about outside of that. Did you ever pay him anything other than cash?
I've only given him cash a few times in the course of what we're talking about.
So you've
if
never
we
used
would
a
go to
credit card?
dinner,
Let her finish her answer.
if we would go to dinner, I wouldn't give him cash because he paid for dinner or I paid for dinner. I've given him cash only a few times in life, probably 4.
Okay.
Probably the most money I've ever handed him is $2,500. The least amount of money I've handed him, probably between $500 and $1,000.
You never wrote him a check?
Ma'am, I don't have checks.
Okay. So you have no proof of any reimbursement for any of these things because it was all cash, right?
The testimony of one witness is enough to prove a fact.
So my
Are you
question was,
telling
do
me
you
that
have
I'm
any
lying to you?
proof?
Is that what you're intimating right here?
I'm asking if you have any proof that you paid him any of these
The
monies.
proof is what I just told you.
Oh.
You have no written proof. Is that correct?
So I have some, probably some transactions like in Belize. I probably spent $500 on my card in Belize. I spent $900 on each of our tickets to go to Belize. I did the $700. I probably got some minor expenses in Aruba that would be on a card. But for the most part, for those trips, other than, so the 2 cruises, I gave him money for those before we ever left because they were pre-booked. Let me answer.
Well, the question was if you had any written proof. And so
Oh, I've answered you that I've had written
we
proof.
can move
of-
to the next question. If you've answered if you had any written proof, and that was my question.
I want to make sure that we're clear that for the 2 cruises,
Judge,
and that's
I
the
asked if
cruise
she gave
plus
him written
Aruba.
proof.
We're not going to talk over each other. Ms. Merchant.
Ow!
She answered
Ow!
your question, so
Ow!
we can ask the next question. Ms. Willis and Ms. Cross will have plenty of opportunities.
Ow!
So let you
I can't do
clarify
it like an
answers
angry cat.
when it's her turn.
Thank you, Judge. Knowing your role as district attorney, you know that public funds are scrutinized and money is scrutinized and things like that. You
And
understand.
I've never, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You understand you're under a microscope. You have reporting requirements, all of those types of things. You have no record other than your testimony of the money that you've given Mr. Wade.
You've already asked that question. Let's keep going.
When you took office, you had a tax lien of $4,600. Did you pay that with cash when you made that tax lien whole?
I probably paid through however you pay.
Okay. So, but you were saying that you had amounts of cash. You still had that lien in 2022 when you were dating Wade and going on these trips. So the cash that you gave him, that could have been used to pay this tax lien off?
You gonna tell me how to pay my
I'm going to
bills?
object. This is not relevant as it relates to why we're here today.
Ms. Merchant, are you trying to establish that she was insolvent in some way?
I definitely was trying to establish that she did not have these mass amounts of cash that she's talking about, yes.
All right. Re-ask the question.
You had a tax lien in 2022, $4,600.
If you say I did.
And you did not use this cash that you had to reimburse Mr. Wade to pay that off, correct?
No.
Okay.
I went shopping too when I didn't pay it off.
And you talked about, you gave a lot of interviews to some authors of a book called Find Me the Books, right?
I would not characterize it as a lot. I probably have spoken to them
No, I'm
2 or
gonna
3
object.
times.
My question is relevant as to.
I think it's already come up that finances are discussed in the book. I'll overrule that.
Thank you.
Ms. Wilson, you can continue your answer.
What came up with Mr. Wade as it relates to hearsay statements that he was asked about in relation to what Ms. Willis may or may not have said.
This is a hot mess, man. I don't know. What is this?
Testimony that's occurring.
This is live right now.
I think Ms. Merchant has said that inside the book.
I think this is related to Trump, but I'm not sure how, though. Prosecuting Trump.
That issue.
Well, DA prosecuting Trump
So
tested
you
about
gave
relationship with
interviews to
special
the authors in this
prosecutor.
book, correct?
Once or twice.
Okay. And
Just to be comprehensive, I don't know if it was 3 times, 2 or 3 times. I think.
you were quoted in the book, and I will give you a chance to say if this is a misquote. You were quoted, when they asked you about if you wanted to run for office for DA, you were quoted, "I really don't want to be financially effed up again." Do you remember saying that?
So what that refers to,
My question first is if you remember saying that.
Oh, she's snapping back. Oh, shit.
I remember saying something similar to that, but I would like to be able to explain what that's in
fine.
reference to. That's not in reference to anything else. It was a huge sacrifice to be district attorney in Fulton County. Huge. I was doing just fine. I had a municipal court judgeship that was paying me $100,000 a year, and like you got to show up twice a week. Easiest thing I've ever done in life. I also had private clients that were paying me to represent them, so I was able to have a law practice and that. Raising 2 daughters by myself, there were times in life where things were hard, and so I was telling people, I don't really run for DA. I don't want to run for DA. I'm in a good position right now. I got this easy job that I enjoy, being the chief judge of the city of South Fulton. I'm making money at the law firm, and I'm not sure that I want to make this sacrifice. And why does it always have to be me? Eventually, I prayed. I think that I was the appropriate person. I think that I did that. So when you're referring to that, what I'm saying is, why should I make a sacrifice again? And what I was not talking about is being district attorney. Once you get elected district attorney, you're in a fine financial position. I make over $200,000 a year. What I was talking about is I ran for judge. When I ran for judge, I took $50,000 of my personal money out of my retirement, and that money ended up being lost. And I know when you bet on yourself, you're going to have to bet money on yourself. And so what I was talking about was not wanting to go through the personal financial expense of running for office. By no means did I think that I was going to be financially in a bad position once I won. Let's talk about what I was up against, because it's important to understand that comment. I had a district attorney who had been here for 24 years. People, no. It's very
play the violin.
as to
I want to hear the violin.
mindset
The smallest
was
violin. Go ahead.
about this. So I'm trying to answer your question. So what I was saying is
Tailored solely to finance.
right, but it is about my finances. If I didn't, nobody put me in this seat, so I had already run for office.
Go off on
I
the
had
judge.
spent
Fuck the judge.
$50,000 of my own money running, and it was vamoose, nothing. And so when I'm talking to those offers, I'm talking about the contemplation of the sacrifice of the run, not the sacrifice of once you become DA. The odds were against me. I was likely going to lose the election based on who I was running against. So that needs to be in the appropriate context.
Isn't it true that the authors also wrote, and you can dispute this if you'd like, that you were broke after that race?
The 2018 race.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a hard race. I wasn't broke like I didn't have any. So broke is relative to depending where you are, but that hurt to lose that $50,000. So I'm sure my mental mindset was like, I just gave $50,000 away.
Right. So they characterized it from their conversations with you that you were broke, you had poured your own money into the campaign, and you weren't able to pay your own bills because of your clients couldn't pay their bills to you, and you had a paltry array of family and asset forfeiture cases. It says you were trying to make it month to month. Is that an accurate depiction of your financial situation at that point?
I would want to read that, but I don't remember clients not being able to pay their bills. Or
may I approach Judge?
You can.
Yeah, put it in her face. I want to see this.
Page 30.
Yes, good.
I have not read this book. So like this fact here, her ex-husband Fred had run into a financial.
What she said?
I have
This
no
what?
information about that.
Oh, she said fact? Oh, I thought I heard something else. I was like, damn, she really gonna.
From their interviews with you, that you were broke and that you had clients that weren't able to pay their bills.
Can you show me where that is? Because this is where you put the tab, so that's what I read.
Broke, couldn't pay their bills.
Yeah, that I'm sure I characterized myself as broke as leaving that $50,000. I don't know that I had her nascent law practice at Paltry Rep.
Well, you just
I didn't have
Ms. Merchant.
I thought I had a law practice. So this is not correct. I'm sure it's just I didn't have any asset forfeiture cases. So I had one case where they had took one of my clients' money at the airport. I don't know if that's what they're I don't know. Paltry array. I did have family law cases. I guess that's what they're talking about. And clients who couldn't pay their bills ain't clients. So no.
So my
Oh, no.
question was just if this was a fair and accurate representation where it says you were trying to make it month to month at that point.
No, I don't think that is actually a fair and accurate representation, but I am certain that after the 2018 election, I'm still not really happy about having given up that $50,000.
You know when you paid your tax lien?
I don't.
You don't? Do you know if you paid it?
I know I've paid some taxes. I don't know. I don't want to speculate.
Did you tell anyone at Fulton County Board of County Commissioners about your relationship with Mr. Wade?
No.
Did you disclose your relationship to anybody at Fulton County?
No, I don't think so.
And as the chief law enforcement officer of Fulton County, I assume that you're familiar with the county code and ordinances?
I've said we're not going to cover that in this hearing, Ms. Merchant.
I'm sorry, Judge?
We said we weren't going to cover the county regulations.
Okay, and I won't. Let me ask you this then. So are you aware that you're required to disclose any relationship with someone that you contract with in Fulton County?
I'm going to object to the court's prior ruling that you made this morning.
Would this be different because it's a potential for impeachment?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to pause it for a second. I'm going to start a new stream on the second channel. I'm going to just redirect us there. I don't know the whole drama behind this, but it looks spicy. It looks kind of interesting. I don't want to keep dragging this on the trial stream, so I'm just going to redirect everybody. If you don't get redirected, links in the chat. Come, we'll watch it for a little bit. This is Fannie Willis, DA, who's prosecuting Trump. So they're coming for her, huh? And it's, we